Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 5 most carried knives over the last month. I handle a lot of stuff. I review a lot of stuff, but the stuff I gravitate towards naturally when I'm not reviewing something, that's the kind of stuff that I want to share with you guys in this video. I've got some interesting things. Some of it's available, some of it's not. I'm going to link everything down in the description so that you guys can check it out for yourself. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Starting out with the first one here, I specifically am reaching for this just because of fidget factor. This is the Blades to be Braggy with, I think what he calls is it the BS lock or the triple BS lock? The only reason, because I'm going to tell you guys right now, this edge is thick. The only reason that I carry this is because it's fun. It puts a smile on my face, and for being such a small object, it works really, really well. I mean, like, it works well in the sense that, like, it's easy to manipulate, right? It's a little rectangle, and you simply pull on that little back tab back there, and then the way you disengage the lock is by pulling down on this little spring-loaded tab. And it's actually got really nice action. If you pull this back here, you can see it just kind of falls into the closed position. Pretty cool. Titanium anno. It's not a titanium Damascus, so not as expensive as you might think. But then again, it's quite a bit more expensive than some people might think. It just depends on, you know, how you feel about this kind of stuff. These are limited, and you can currently pick them up at Tools for Gents. I'll have it linked in the description. S35VN. This edge is thick. So it's great for, like, a quick package opener, right? It's kind of fun. I'm like, oh, I get a chance to use my little rectangle knife, you know? It's nice for that, but not something that you would want to dedicate to all the time, right? This is more of a conversation piece, more of just like a fun little thing. It's tip down carry, but honestly, with the ergonomics being more of like a knife you hold in your fingertips, it's not really something where I care too much about having the perfect grip on. But it is made well. I do think this is really, really fun. And it's funny that this ended up in the number 5 spot. Not a ton over the last, I mean, everything else has been carried way more, but I realized I've put this more in my pocket than, you know, anything else that I could possibly put in the number 5 spot. So there you go. Pretty fun. Moving on here to a knife that saw quite a bit more pocket time, and that's the Imuran VOR. I'm not sure exactly how we pronounce this. This is it's either a $43 or a $47 knife, and in my opinion, it is, I mean, it's obviously the bug out, right? I mean, we don't have to tiptoe around that. That's obviously what this is trying to be. But in my opinion, outside of the blade steel, it is superior in every way. The choke up position, the overall aesthetic, the Omega springs for the crossbar lock, just fantastic. And 14T28N, it's not S30V, it's not going to be beating it in the edge retention department, but it's a great steal for 47 bucks or whatever this ends up being. Honestly, it's a great steal. The edge geometry on this thing is absolutely ridiculous. It's super thin. It's everything that I like about the bug out without feeling insanely delicate. So I have a titanium bug out, and that's fine. It's fun. But there's something special about carrying a knife that is so inexpensive and so spectacular. As somebody who likes to buy really expensive knives and carry them and use them in some cases, I still really enjoy, like, man, this knife just really doesn't cost very much, and it is such an excellent tool. That's exactly what this is. If you look at the bug out and you think, I like that knife, but not for 180, not for 200, not for, what was that one I showed here recently? 400? Yikes. Not for that much. This. I've reviewed a ton of knives that are essentially the bug out, but cheaper. This is probably the best one. I really enjoyed this. I found myself throwing it in my pocket just because it's compact and lightweight. You know, I feel like if I lose it or break it, oh well, it wasn't horribly expensive. I'm not saying $43 or $47 isn't, you know, a decent amount of money. Just versus a lot of the stuff that I show here, it's definitely less expensive. So if you want, you know, a good, inexpensive, lightweight, compact EDC with that nice, thin cutting geometry to throw in your pocket every now and then, keep in your vehicle, right, your junk drawer, whatever, this is a great one. Check it out. Moving on here to a knife that saw, these last 3 saw very, very similar to equal carry time. And the only reason that this one is number 3 is because I only recently got it. You haven't even seen me unbox this knife yet, and that's because all my content is pre-recorded. But since the date on the unboxing, this thing has dominated my pocket. This is the Vosteed Aita. I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. And it has the V-anchor lock or the Vanker lock, however you want to say that, which we'll talk about here in a moment. This is one of the best mid-range knives that I have ever handled. When I say mid-range, I mean that point between budget and premium, right? Where you start to get up to like 200 plus. I believe this knife comes in at about $139. In the unboxing, I mistakenly said that the scales were titanium. They are aluminum. I got this kind of, is it like a shamrock green? I'm not sure what we want to call it here. But if you don't know what the V-anchor lock is, it locks up very similar to, it looks like that old Brom puzzle lock. It doesn't lock up the same way, but it does lock up a lot like the compression lock with more material, but there's also a magnet in the pivot holding the lock in place. This lock has proven many times, many videos, many different content creators to be very, very strong, and you get to operate it with the pivot. Super, super cool. Love the look of it. Love this little perforated texturing here with the little perimeter milled around. I think that's super classy looking. I love manipulating the lock with the pivot. The opening hole right there, plenty of access to it. You want to do the forward flick, the thumb flick, whatever. You have that nice, kind of clicky. It's such a nice detent that it's got going on there. And you've got the front flipper too. But most importantly, really, really good ergonomics and an absolutely secure locking system. You do have to be careful, especially if you are left-handed, because this does have mounting positions for lefties. If you are left-handed and you're choking up, the pad of your finger is right on that button. And that means if you're squeezing down hard enough, you have to really be in the right spot. You can disengage it. As a right-handed person, I don't find myself in a position at all. I mean, I'm kind of cognizant of where my index finger is when I'm choked up. I don't really find myself in a position where I feel like I'm going to do that, right? So this has been an absolute joy at $139, S35VN, beautiful aluminum, really nice, super heavy-duty feel without being a big, burly, bulky knife. There are a lot of really great knives in this sort of mid-range, and specifically between the $100 and $150 mark. That is an awkward spot. Anybody who has been part of the knife world for, I don't know, like even the last few years, that's a weird spot, right? There's not a, it's kind of like, Kershaw, Kaiser, kinda. It's a weird spot. And even the stuff that's great there is not really super spectacular, save for a couple of things, versus a lot of the stuff in the lower end or the higher end. So this is one of those knives that I feel like truly shines in that territory. And if you're wondering, do I openly recommend this knife? Yeah. If you're shopping at that price point, this is really good. In fact, I think it's one of the best options we've ever had. Really like it. There's a ton of different anno options too. Some kind of fun in-between colors. Kind of makes me think of Easter, honestly. And probably very timely too. But yeah, this is a sweet knife. It's really, really good. I think Vosteed's really got some good leadership going on. Obviously the value's there, but I think they're on the ball and they know what they're doing. The V-anchor lock is really, really cool, and this is the Akita is definitely one to check out. Moving on to the number 2 spot, this is going to come as no surprise. I've labeled this knife as one of the greatest EDC folding knives of all time, and I mean it. This is the Demco Shark Cub. Mine is aluminum, kind of the army gray-green. I don't know, it's like an army tank gray-green, and then we have the DLC CPM 20CV blade. This has continued to be as epic as it was, or more epic. You know, every day that I take this out and use it, I mean, it's one of those knives where I put it in my pocket and I know I have the perfect pocket knife for whatever I'm going to do that day. I've talked about this so many times. It's the Shark lock. This is a Demco lock. It's essentially a triad lock that is easier to manipulate. The locking system itself is extremely strong and reliable. You don't have to worry about it disengaging, right? It's nice and thin and compact. So you get that super, well, not super thin. You get a nice thin cutting geometry. And then we have, I don't know if they do different blade steels. Mine's in 20 CV. It's kind of that chalky DLC. Wish they would do a satin one. They make these in titanium. They make them in the injection mold plastic. Not my favorite combination of materials. They really need to change out that base steel that they use, OS 10A. Use 154 CM or VG10. Or, heck, use 14C28N and bring the price back a bit. Yeah, right. But that would be cool. Anyways, whatever version of this you choose, it is fantastic. I really mean this. I think this is one of the greatest EDC knives of all time. It's one of my favorite carry knives of all time. And if you're thinking I've already got the AD 20.5, listen, I loved the AD 20.5 and I still do. The reason I like this knife more is it's essentially exactly the same thing, but it's more compact. And in my opinion, the opening hole, the overall experience that I have manipulating the thing is better. I'm also not nearly as confined at the back end, and the extra amount of handle room at the back end is essentially trivial. You can see here the part of the blade or the handle that you're actually going to be in contact with, that you're going to actually be holding onto, is the same. It's the same, except it doesn't have this curvature back here, which makes me feel like I have to squeeze my fingers into that little spot. It's better, and the opening hole is better with it widening out at the back end. It just makes it that much easier to manipulate. This blade shape in particular, really, I think they call it, do they call it the slicer grind? I can't remember. It's kind of somewhere in within a sheep's foot drop point kind of range, and it just works. It's really great. I still haven't wiped off the marks from when I sharpened that pencil, but this is such a spectacular knife. It's going to continue to dominate my pockets. If you don't own this knife and you're in the market for that, I understand some of these are pretty expensive. If you're in the market for a one-and-done EDC knife, which people always laugh at me when I say that, hey, we were all there once. We were all looking for that one-and-done EDC knife, so just let people go on their journey. But if I was going to recommend it, and tell you at the same time that there's never a one-and-done, everybody who says that's correct. If I was going to recommend a one-and-done knife to somebody, this would pretty much be it. Moving on here to the knife that has dominated my pockets over the last month. This was not a knife that I expected to carry, but as soon as I got it, I knew I had to. This is the Hawk Talon. I know a lot of people are going to go, what? No way. No way you've been EDCing that knife. I did it on the live stream. I don't mind doing it again here. The Hawk Talon is a really expensive knife. I'm not doing that to flex. I'm just letting people know I don't mind using this one. I got a lot of knives that cost a lot of money, and the vast majority of those really expensive ones do not get used because I'm a collector. This knife, to me, is a user. Let me wipe all that Monster Energy drink off of that blade. But I love the Hawk Talon. I love using it. It just feels so fun to use. It's so clicky. I love that locking system. I love the thumb studs, even though they're a little bit tiny. I love this little tab right here, which does not operate like the crossbar lock. It's not the same thing at all. This has a totally and completely unique feel to it. It's also got an insanely thin edge, which a lot of people, every time I cut a can, they assume that I absolutely ruined, right? Cutting aluminum, oh my gosh. The thing is still absolutely razor sharp. It's not going to do anything to the blade, but put scratches on it, which I am not concerned with. This is phenomenal. This is a perfect example of a super expensive in-house, truly custom knife with some machine elements, right? That is also a fantastic EDC knife. A lot of people assume that as you continue to climb up the cost ladder, everything just looks more and more and more like a gas station knife. We all understand, those of us who have been around for a long time, we know why that's an ironic statement, and we'll just let those people figure it out for themselves. But it's not always true. The Hawk Talon is a perfect example of that. This is carbon fiber, but otherwise has a pretty straightforward look. Titanium underneath, and then we have, I believe these were 20 CV hardened super high. I think these were super wild if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am, but I seem to remember this being like a 62, 63, 20 CV. Like it was some really high HRC on the 20 CV. This thing has just cut and cut and cut. It also has cut me a couple of times, but that edge has been absolutely phenomenal, and I have supremely enjoyed carrying and using this knife. Nothing has come undone. Nothing has come off center. It's just been great. Now, the downside to this knife is that not only is it ridiculously expensive, these are about 900 bucks. Ouch! It is awesome, and those of you who have it, you probably feel the same way. I don't know if you use yours, but if you don't, you don't have to, but you'd really love it if you used it. Yeah, if you are in the market for one of these and don't want to pay secondary market prices, your only bet is to wait until he does another batch of them and then get in on it. So anyways, number one spot, probably not going to stay that way. I love that knife. It's probably going to stay in my rotation for a bit, but it's probably not going to stay at number one. And then we have, so Hawk Talon, then we have the Demco Shark Cub, then we have the Vosteed Aita, we have the Imuran VOR, and then we have the little blades to be Braggy. That's going to be pretty much it today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed that video, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on the Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.